Hello! Guys, I finished my apartment. In this video, I'm gonna give you the full before and after so you can see what I've been doing all year. I'll take you through. Think of this as like an architectural digest tour, but no one famous is in the video. And yeah, let me know what you think of where I started and where I've landed. If you want to see my full apartment tour, then stick around. Okay, so this was what I was starting with. So it's hard to tell, but from floor to ceiling, everything was the same bland white color. So the skirting boards, the walls, the stairs, and also in my kitchen, super randomly, there were just these pieces of cupboard that hadn't been finished. I also had no sheer blinds, so a bit of a lack of privacy. Another thing that sucked was that I had issues with my electrics, so just these flashing lights. And now we've moved upstairs. So upstairs looked even messier because of these open cupboards I had. And no matter how neatly you stacked things in there, it just made the room look untidy. So yeah, that was a bit of a journey creating curtains for those. Right, then we had the laundry with a huge patch of paint that was just missing. Okay, and finally upstairs we had the bathroom. Yes, it is as yellow as it looks. Also, there was this brown grout between the tiles on the floor, again making the apartment look super old and just, yeah, untidy, unfinished, unclean, all the uns. Like, yeah, not a fan. Okay, and now we are getting into it. So thankfully my parents did help me with a few different things in the apartment, so special thanks to them. There was so much testing of paint colors. I can't even tell you how many times I went to the hardware store. I think my most was like 3 or 4 times in a week. It did take 5 weeks to actually paint the whole apartment, so that was, yeah, that tested my patience. I have to admit that. Also, I used so much painter's tape, but I did reuse all of it as much as I could. So anything that was still sticky, which it stays pretty tacky, I was able to reuse so I didn't have to buy it again. And yeah, didn't want to just like waste tape if I could actually go for round 2 with it. Yeah, you can see the windows had to be done as well. So the big windows at the front of my apartment. And yeah, my apartment is 2 stories high. It's like a loft style. So there was like an extension ladder I had to buy, which was pretty scary to be on. So yeah, a lot going on. The hinges were painted like 3 times. So I stripped all of those. There was a set of hinges that took me 6 hours to strip the paint off. But again, it just is like, why would you do that? Why would you paint metal to make it look just gluggy and really, really cheap? So yeah, upstairs it was a lot of the same. It was scraping existing paint, getting rid of drips and things, and you know, cutting in and rollering and just doing this day in, day out. Also, it was quite hard painting by eye, so not putting the tape down when I had to do the skirting boards. That was an experience. Then I moved on to curtains, so making the curtains for those open messy cupboards upstairs. I was painting ceilings, I was painting around lights, again more stripping of hinges, and yeah, making sure I got all the door frames really nice and clean. Regrouting was an experience. That was pretty hard, and yeah, then finally I moved on to fixing up those kitchen cabinets that were open, and yeah, not alright. Okay, so I also made my own furniture. Firstly, I made a couple of bedside tables from a fallen tree on my parents' farm, and yeah, it was a lot of manual labor. I then moved on to making this really cool retro tiled side table, which yeah, again, a lot of manual labor, but worth it. There was so much cleaning throughout this whole year, and moving bits of furniture around, styling, restyling, and just making sure I was happy with the final look, because I didn't come this far to only come this far, if that makes sense, like to have it finished in a way that I wasn't entirely happy with. So yeah, styling was a super important part of getting it right. And now for the final results. So downstairs, this is how things ended up looking. So I had my dining room, I had my living room, which of course I have to show you an extra video of the couch, because yeah, this is where I spend most of my time. I'm obsessed with this couch. It's the comfiest thing I own. And yeah, my living room is just so welcoming. I don't have to look at like a bracket or just screws left on the wall anymore. And then of course the kitchen and how that ended up with closing off those cabinets beneath. I'm so happy that those are gone, because yeah, again, just why would you leave them unfinished? And then next had to be the privacy that those sheer curtains that I made and installed have given me. So yeah, so happy with how those turned out, because beforehand it was just a bit awkward. Like, it is a little bit of a fishbowl where your neighbors can look in and kind of see what you're doing, which I did get used to, but having the sheer curtains, even just for a bit of light, made a difference. Okay, so moving upstairs, the stairs actually took 2 days to prep and paint, which again, another test of patience. I've learned a lot of tolerance this year. And then finally, my bedroom, I was happy with these cute little mushroom lamps I could get, and also that I could successfully close off those open messy cupboards and just make them look a lot tidier. Loved my bedding, which I also felt tied into this artwork that I chased down for 5 months. Moving into the laundry, nice and bright now, and then followed by the bathroom, which is super clean. It is crisp and white and no longer yellow on the door, which I'm pretty happy with. The paint drips from around the skirting boards at the ceiling have gone as well. And yeah, the grout's all white and finished. Okay, that was it. I hope you love where everything has landed, how everything looks now, and yeah, agree with all of my choices throughout this year in the apartment. As per usual, I'll see you in the next video.